Hey everybody, this is Tracy here with another edition of A View from Tracy's Point, and we are here with a quick update on the Tim Norman case. The jury has reached a verdict. So as you guys know, Tim Norman is the son of Robbie Montgomery, who owns the Sweetie Pies restaurant chain in St. Louis. And they were also the subject of a own reality TV show called Welcome to Sweetie Pies. Well, in March of 2016, Miss Robbie's grandson, Andre Montgomery, was murdered in St. Louis. And a couple of years later, Tim, along with three other co-conspirators, were charged with that murder. The other three people, the gunman, the person who helped lure Andre out of the house for the gunman to shoot him, as well as a person who sold Tim life insurance policies. And that's what this was all about. He was trying to get the money from life insurance policies that he had taken out on Andre's life. And so the other three people pled guilty, said, yes, we were a part of this conspiracy. Tim was behind the conspiracy, but Tim held out, went on trial. The trial only lasted about a week. It started last week and it concluded 2 days ago. And I was really surprised, maybe 3 days ago. I was surprised that it lasted that long. Tim did testify in his defense, and I will drop the link to that video above. But anyway, the St. Louis Dispatch is reporting that a St. Louis jury found former St. Louis reality TV star James Tim Norman guilty of conspiring to kill his nephew. Norman, 43, was convicted on all charges after the jury deliberated for about 17 hours. He faced 2 federal murder for hire counts and 1 count of conspiracy to commit wire and mail fraud. Norman orchestrated the 2016 murder of his 21-year-old nephew, Andre Montgomery, then attempted to cash out up to $450,000 in a fraudulent life insurance policy he took out on Montgomery about 18 months before the death, the jury decided. Let's see, it says Norman and his nephew starred in Welcome to Sweetie Pies, a long-running own reality show about the popular soul food business Robbie Montgomery, Norman's mother and Andre's grandmother, founded in the St. Louis area. And then also worth noting is that Miss Robbie was also a former backup singer and dancer for Ike and Tina Turner. And so the verdict Friday concludes a case that captures national attention for years. Assistant United States Attorney Angie Danis made the case in closing argument for the prosecution that Norman initiated the murder plot in hopes of a payout. Not only did he know he was the architect of this plan, Danis said, this plan doesn't exist but for Tim Norman's greed. Norman's defense attorney, Michael Leonard, responded in his closing remarks that the murder plot described by prosecutors was a made-up theory. The picture from everyone in the case was that he was a man of character, Leonard said. Prosecutors argued the day of the shooting, Norman paid $10,000 to an exotic dancer, Terica Ellis, to track his nephew's location. They accused Norman of then using a friend to pay $5,000 to the shooter, Travell Anthony Hill, after he killed Montgomery. Both Ellis and Hill testified for the prosecution. The defendant saw his opportunity to cash in and he tried. Danis argued he had his own nephew executed. And then, as I shared with you guys earlier, Tim did take the stand in his own defense on the last day of testimony, which was actually on Tuesday. And he told the jury he asked Hill and Ellis to find and confront his nephew about a recent burglary at his mother's home, but said he never paid them or asked them to hurt his nephew. Norman testified that about 18 months before the killing, he brought Montgomery to St. Louis, paid his rent, and enrolled him in music school. He said he then cut him off financially after Montgomery stopped going to work in school. The defense called former Sweetie Pie's employees and other character witnesses who said Norman and his nephew were close. Leonard questioned the credibility of the testimony from Norman's alleged co-conspirators and argued Ellis felt compelled to testify to get a shorter sentence. In making life's most important decisions, would you make that based upon a stripper who said she looked at your face and lied to you, Leonard said. He also emphasized that the shooter, Hill, who prosecutors called Norman's hired gun, said, "Nobody else should be responsible for my actions but me. I looked up to Tim as a mentor." Well, child, if that's what your mentor was teaching you, then you need to find another mentor. And so the article goes on to talk about Hill testifying that he was the one that killed Montgomery after he was told by a mutual acquaintance that Norman would pay to have his nephew killed. He said that that's my grandbaby trying to get in on the action, y'all. He won't talk to. And so Hill said he was paid $5,000 after the killing by another man, Darrell Howard, who testified he made the payment at Norman's direction. And I think I shared a lot of this in my last video if you guys want to go ahead and check that out. But they, basically had all the evidence and information, text records, call records, location data. And they basically said that Kim scripted a show to portray an image of wealth and success that wasn't real. An image of being a mentor and a father figure, knowing that it was all made up and it was all a lie. So once again, Tim Norman of Welcome to Sweetie Pies has been found guilty by a jury in St. Louis for the conspiracy and murder to hire of his nephew, Andre Montgomery. Go ahead, leave your comments below, rate the video, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And until the next time, I shall talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.